Back here on Sun Devil Extra again from Club Farrington in beautiful Tempe. Braden Bell alongside Kelsey Hall. We just heard from her coach, and Kelsey, here we are. Season's here. It's like Christmas Eve, I'd imagine. Getting
really
things going. I mean, what is the emotion like for you after, we're going to talk about your rehab process in a moment, but after all you've been through to get back here now ready to go, what's the emotions like?
I was just sitting talking to our pitching coach for 30 minutes, and I was just like, I can't believe it's actually here. I feel like this summer, this fall, it was just almost like a simulation of just put your head down and grind, and it's like, oh wait, we're actually doing this. I'm excited. I can't believe it's my last one.
Right.
Actually, like there's no extra eligibility. It's all been used, and it's finally here, so I'm just really grateful.
You think you'll still be nervous? I mean, you mentioned you've been around this now for a while, 3 different programs, but opening day is always got to be special, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to be. It's a feeling of, oh wow, this is actually my last one. I think will always be a type of feeling you can't replace, but also with that, it's my first time back competing. I didn't get to compete in the fall against another team. Luckily, I was just, again, talking to Mate, and luckily I've came back to phenomenal pitchers, some of the best that I'll see this season right here at our home field. So I'm like, okay, I've gone through the trenches getting back facing Kenzie Brown, Mika, Cambry, Julianne. So I'm excited. I'm really confident. So
for fans that don't know, you're coming off of a torn ACL, right? Now, not many college players are able to come back and do it once. You're now doing it twice. So the former Mountain West, you know, what was the title? I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank.
No, that's okay. My first ACL, I got Comeback Player of the Year, National Comeback Player of the Year from Extra Inning Softball, and then my second year there, I got Conference Player of the Year.
Yeah, so we knew, she's going through a resume herself. Comeback Player of the Year, though. Now that you know how to do it, a different knee, but you know how to do it.
Right.
Is it any different the second time?
I think it is a little different this time just because, so my first one I tore after the very first weekend of season, and this one I tore the last game, and somehow I'm still coming back at the same time. And again, that's all thanks to our ASU resources, our PTs, our athletic trainers are absolutely amazing getting after it. But also with that, I think just the timeline of, okay, we got to grind, figure this out. Obviously, like I said, I got to come back, and we've done so much live, so much scrimmaging. So luckily I felt like I've caught up, but with that, on the flip side, I have a lot more experience.
Sure.
My freshman year was COVID, so we didn't obviously get to play the whole season. So on that side, I haven't even really played college softball. What is this gonna look like? But so now on the flip side, I've had less time to come back, but I have more experience to rely on, and knowing, okay, you've done it before, you can do it again.
Yeah.
And you're a little more knowledgeable this time. So it all kind of balances out.
No doubt. Well, take us through that. So as you mentioned, it was the last regular season. So early May, you tear your ACL. Here we are.
Cinco de Mayo, actually.
Okay, so we're almost at an anniversary. That is not a very happy Cinco de Mayo.
I'm like,
so
what
sorry.
a lame Cinco de Mayo.
You'll remember it forever in the worst of ways.
Yeah, it was
now we're
senior weekend, and which were actually, some of them were younger than me, but everyone that was graduating was done, and I'm like laying there like, oh wow, here we go. This is gonna be a fun summer and fall. So yeah, but that was funny. But anyways, continue.
Well, no. So now the point is we're sitting here almost to an anniversary of that. February 4th as we're recording this. So take us through, I mean, the rehab process. Like, did it start immediately? What was that all like?
Right.
When were you back on your feet? How are you feeling right now?
Right. So first off, we'll start with the good news. I'm feeling awesome. I just actually am coming from my PT session, and this was one of the first times where I'm feeling really confident in all my single leg. So obviously this might sound nerdy for some people, but there's the different strength progression than the plyo progression, and I'm doing the single leg stuff now, and I'm feeling really confident in that. So that's always a great sign when you're able to get your first initial single leg plyo on your surgical leg and you get after it. My PT's like, okay, now we're getting somewhere, which is really awesome. So that's the good news. When I tore it out here, I wasn't sure if it was my ACL because it felt totally different than my first one. I was like, maybe I broke a bone. I don't know what's going on. And then when I had my MRI, my athletic trainer at the time, he was really scared to tell me. He was like, I don't want to tell her. And initially I was just like, all right, here we go. To be completely honest with you guys, I don't know where my head was at. I was like, is this a sign from whoever that hang them up, you're in your 5th year, everyone else graduated? Is this another, you're going to be really grateful once you finish your career? And Coach B, luckily, at the time, I wasn't really grateful for it, but she didn't blink twice about it. When she found out my meniscus was torn, she's like, "You're going to be back." I was like, whoa, can we process this? But I honestly am really grateful for that mindset because it got me to be able to compete opening day. And so I had surgery basically right away. I think it was the 13th, so it was a little less than a week after that. And it was, again, immediately. I think I had PT maybe the next day. After the ACL recovery, you never slow down with it. And they're really aggressive here with it, which is really cool, but also they're really understanding.
Sure.
And the second time around, I knew my body. I knew, okay, the first time when you're doing it, everything's pain. It's like, oh, I don't want to do that. That's painful, but really it's just getting back to it. So, but this time I knew that, so I was able to kind of push my own boundaries and then knowing what real pain was. And then I actually had another surgery on my left knee in August.
Oh,
so
my.
I had 2 knee surgeries this summer. I know, shaking your head back there.
Great summer.
Yeah, it was super fun. Everything to do in Arizona I did not do. So maybe we'll do that this coming summer. But so that put me back a little bit just because I've had a couple on my original kind of messed up one. But everything was pretty much smooth sailing. I knew myself, I knew my pace, I knew fall wasn't a non-negotiable for me. I wasn't stressed that I couldn't play, obviously.
Sure.
That's great, but I was pretty confident in myself of the marathon race, and then fell back a little bit around winter break time because I had to get an injection in this left knee because it was acting up. But luckily, again, amazing resources, really understanding coaches of not over pushing my limits here. Our strength coach, he's been a phenomenal, he's almost like my second PT. I always joke with him about it. Sometimes not a joke, but in the grand scheme, I'm really thankful for everyone's been in my corner. So, but we're doing good. Sliding and diving started last week.
Okay.
And that was a little tough. I'm not gonna lie. Not even like I was scared, but it was just like, oh my goodness, how do I do this again? I think I fell flat on my face the first time. But you had to.
Yeah.
You had to do it.
Yeah.
So, but I'm excited. I'm excited how it's all coming together perfectly.
Pull out the slip and slide again, right?
It's actually a crash mat that we have.
Okay.
We have one of those, and I put it out and I yelled, "Coach B, can you come over here? This just doesn't look right." So put our heads together and we're figuring it out though. So
Kelsey,
all is well.
You found a home here in Tempe, of course, started your career at Fresno, then off to Boise State. I was watching an interview you did in the past talking about the transfer portal and how a lot of people get the, misconceptions about what it's like.
Right.
You were talking about how you were sitting outside and you were just getting text after text after text.
Yeah.
What was it about this place? I mean, obviously look behind you, it's special, and the history speaks for itself. But what was it about the culture and this school as a whole that really attracted you to becoming a Sun Devil?
Yeah, I mean, I had 2 obvious portal experiences. The first time was super easy with Coach Schultz at Boise State. I had a phenomenal experience at Boise State. I first want to say that. Absolutely nothing but good things to say about them and their program. And once I decided that I just wanted to expand and see where my 2 years of eligibility, because I am a 6th year, guys. I'm not supposed to be here for context. I just wanted to see where that could take me because originally I was committed to University of Oregon when I was a freshman in high school. So the Pac was always my dream. And actually, ASU got an edge because at Boise we played here, and we had a night game, and granted they kicked the heck out of us. They absolutely dominated us. But I remember playing here, and it was literally like Club Farrington. You heard it, but then once you were actually in it, I got the chills. Just thinking about it, I'm kind of getting goosebumps of like how much fun and how exciting it is to play here. And I remembered that. But so the hitting coach at the time, Coach K, he was the hitting coach at University of Oregon when I was committed there. So I already had that strong relationship with him. And when we played here, I hadn't seen him in years. He remembered me, hugged me, and embraced me. And I was like, okay, that's a really great sign that he's here. But I remember I told him, I was like, I need to talk to your head coach at the end of the day. She cold called me, and I just remember she just was flat out like, why do you want to be a Sun Devil? Like, what would make us align? And all those things. And we were bouncing off of each other, and I just was excited. I felt that passion, I felt that fire, and her eagerness to make this program hers, and she wanted to build it on good principle and great humans. And just coming out here, I had an amazing portal experience. I got to talk to some phenomenal coaches, SEC schools. Now we're Big 12, but at the time Big 12 schools, and I got just really grateful for that experience. But this was my last visit, and me and my dad were here, and my dad was a super low-key person, but he was taking pictures of everything. He was taking pictures of me talking to the strength coach. He was taking pictures of the academics. I was like, Dad, I'm never going to be in here, but I saw how excited he was. I mean, I'm a grad student, let's face it.
Right. It's true.
And he was just, I could tell how excited he was about it, and that he had always had my best interest at heart. And Coach B, and I actually came on my visit with my former teammate, Lily Denby. So she played here last year. And so that was obviously, they were smart setting us up together, because she committed. And I was like, wait a minute, should I commit right now too? And I got to talk to some former players that were here at the time, and they were just so excited about the year. And I was like, okay, I can see myself as a human being here as well outside of softball. I luckily got that experience at Boise. It's a great area, great town, and I wanted that again. And this was the closest to home, but far enough away.
Right.
It was a 12-hour drive. I'm from California, Northern California, and I was, again, always wanted to play in the Pac. And I think I had that little chip on my shoulder from when it didn't happen originally, and so it was kind of a no-brainer. So long story long.
Hey, that's what this show is for.
Yeah, exactly. You get it all, guys.
Yeah, this is what it's all about. I do want to touch on, obviously you guys can tell Kelsey is very well spoken. You've had some run-ins with a couple of buddies of ours on the media side of things, Anthony Totri and Eric Ruby. It was actually like the first I ever saw when you don't have the spikes on, when you don't have the cleats on.
Right.
First to see you off camera, and it was at a press conference after a football game this past year. You asked Kenny Dillingham a question after ASU beat Mississippi State in football. So take us through your fascination with media. I mean, you're natural. You really are.
Thank you. I appreciate it. My dad, I would always say I have the face for a podcast. So.
I hear the same thing. Yep.
But so luckily, Anthony Totri, if you're actually watching this, you're one of my
send
favorite.
it to him.
Yeah, you're one of my favorite human beings ever. Everyone at PHNX has been absolutely amazing to me, so welcoming. So when I had first committed to ASU, they had got me on there for an interview because they wanted to, obviously, we had so many transfers, so many moving pieces. Lucky enough, for some reason, Anthony picked me. Ew, I said Anthony, that was weird. Totri.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
no
Totri picks me. Yeah, no one does. But, and the interview went really well, and then they hit me with some fun questions I wasn't prepared for. And I gave an answer to one that they just said shocked all of the office. They were just like, that was an electric answer.
Hold on. What was it?
The question was, if you could live in any fictional world, books, movies, whatever, what would it be? And right away I said Pirates of the Caribbean. I thought that was a great answer.
That is surprising.
And I was just on a Jack Sparrow kick, and it just like it came naturally. But from there, they were just like, once you get into Tempe, like we want you to come out here, and we just kind of started building a relationship. I got the opportunity to kind of hold a weekly interview segment, Kelsey's Corner is what we called it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool about how softball was going, and from there, they, again, for some reason liked me being on there. They said, this is good. We need to get you there more often. So I got to co-host with Totri and Eric a couple times. And then from there, again, they gave me another amazing opportunity, Saul Bookman, to help as almost like a intern, help with the football media coverage. And so it was really cool. I got to be up in the press box and all those things. And I stayed and did the post-game coverage.
Yeah.
And they literally told me I never had to ask a question. They did say that. They just wanted me to get it in efficiently and make sure I'm videoing the right people speaking. And I was sitting there, and again, just coming from an athlete perspective, I was like, this is what he talked about last week. And again, nothing against anyone else, but I was just the only athlete in there.
Yeah.
I was like, why aren't we going to ask a question building off of the things that he said he wanted to focus on from last week to bring in? And so I was just like, I'm going to see where this goes. And I was just like, I don't even remember what I asked, but it was like, you talked last week about how we needed to see how the leadership would step up in a big game and all those things, and it translate into your culture, peace, and practice. And how did you see that translate to this game? Something along the lines. And I actually got the longest response there that weekend. I think he really he ran with that answer. And I actually asked one of the players one of the questions too. Something got a hold of me. I was feeling confident. But it was a really cool experience.
It's kind of fun, right?
Yeah, it was fun. And I was just like, I have the mindset of the athlete, and I just wanted to see what would happen. And it was really cool. Someone actually tweeted out, like, did we just see Kelsey Hall in the post-game media? And I didn't know that was streamed. I didn't know anybody would know that I asked a question. Yeah, that was a great experience. PHNX is absolutely amazing, and it was really fun. It was a really fun time.
Well, I'll tell you this, we were just chatting before we started recording, maybe next year, and there's a lot of work, a lot of wins hopefully to come before
Exactly.
this, but maybe next year after the playing career is officially over, we'll get you up in the booth.
That would be absolutely
We'll
phenomenal.
work together.
I got to
Who
talk
knows?
to the guy in charge, see
Well,
if he likes me enough after this year.
We know the people.
We'll see.
We know the right people.
Yeah,
but,
we can pull some strings.
But certainly, much more important things to be done before then. A fun
Absolutely.
season to come, a lot of excitement. We've loved being here today. Very few places we'd rather be than Club Farrington. And Kelsey, great to talk to you. Best of luck this season. Congrats on being healthy, hopefully staying healthy moving forward, and many wins to come.
Absolutely. We'll see you guys at Club Farrington.
Back to wrap things up with Graham Rossini when we return.